that she would say. So what's always interesting about Nicki is that her music, she stopped really having hits after her and Safari weren't like together because he was a part of making the music. Everyone may not necessarily be a superstar or be super talented in one area, but elements matter. The story matters, right? How it comes together matters because again, certain songs. Listen, there's always secret ingredients. All right, always a secret ingredient. Safari was obviously her secret ingredient because her music was never necessarily as good or as important again. Now I think like she's had records and stuff like that, but it didn't feel how it felt in the beginning. And the raps, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I thought something the raps wasn't hitting for a long time. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like this shit. You feel me? But anywho, and I want to go to the relationship with Drake and Nicki, and I want to play a few clips real quick. All right, here we go.
Have had a flirtatious relationship for a long time, with ups and downs along the way. As far back as his 2010 debut album, Thank Me Later, Drake's admiration for Nicki was documented.
I love Nicki Minaj. I told her I'd admit it. I hope one day we get married just to say we did it.
Throughout the 2010s, evidence of the chemistry between Drake and Nicki was found on stage, in interviews, over Instagram lives, and in more lyrics. They never confirmed a romantic relationship, leaving fans to only speculate about their flirty friendship.
I could stay like that all day.
But you know what? The one thing I can always do is count on you.
Always.
The people love you. You the people's motherfucking champ.
I don't know a nigga that could cover for me. Yeah, I got some game from my day. So she might say she love me, she don't love me like she say she love me. Believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me. I'm that nigga that ain't love me in the street, in the street. I'm not trying to find nobody else to be. I'm the one that
Drake made fun of his security guard in front of everyone.
Hopefully they don't flag the video for that. Anywho, I wanted to play a few more clips, man. There's a lot of music. Come on, I gotta stop playing music in this shit, man. Come on now, you gotta knock it off. But you guys kind of get the point, right? This pattern. This is like while like she's in a relationship with Safari, and she's doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is during their relationship. So this was like a thing that he had to deal with was like also him doing like just basically her behaving like the man in their relationship. And after that, she's with Big Mill, and then she got with her husband, Kenneth Petty. Let's go ahead and get into Beloved real quick.
And could be again. Apparently, the way the show is going today, we did not have enough time to get to Nicki Minaj's brother. But let me tell you something, Nicki. That's going to be my first story tomorrow, and I'm going to lead with this. You should have never married him. Because now you've ruined everything about what your brand could be. Again, you're never going to stand a chance when you're with a man who pulls a knife at rape point. You know, and you're never going to stand a molester. A registered sex offender who wasn't even you're never going to stand a chance with John Q. Public, because there's only one thing worse than touching children and pulling knives, and that's murder. And by the way, he did go to jail for manslaughter. Oh, I think I just did the story. Nope. Get to digging. There's more on it. Everybody get to digging. Okay.
So she's talking about Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty. So that's his history. So that's the man she's with now. So that's who she married, is who she had her children with. And it was interesting is I think that like if she would have gotten with Drake early on, she could have got Drake. And not that status has to Like you have to go for the most high status guy. But we see a pattern. She wasn't really able to actually deal with masculine men and men who were actually in control of their own lives. Like to the point where now she was with Meek Mill for a little bit, but at that point, she thought when she got with Meek, I think because of how Meek is very like outspoken, very passionate, and people like that aren't always very receptive to bad traits in someone else. And she's older than Meek. Meek is like my age. So what she probably thought she was going to do was be able to control him like she controls Safari. All right. And it didn't go down like that. And eventually, he outgrew. He stopped fanning out and said, "Nah, I'm good on this." And it wasn't together no more. You know what I'm saying? And then Meek and Drake did a few songs together. Very good outcome, right? And what else? After that, we get to Mr. Petty. Right? This guy's coming out of jail. For the most part, I mean, I guess for his situation, this is the best outcome possible. For the most part, he came home to just be able to bang Nicki Minaj. That's wild. He's been like this dude. So it's another thing too about like women when they've been imprinted on. It's like, it's very hard for women to like stop loving the first man she loved or someone she felt like she hadn't fully experienced. She held on to that for her entire life. And when that man has been in jail while she was doing all this work you put in, she says, "All right, for my final my closing, the closing show, I'm marrying this dude." And hey, listen, y'all, they love each other, but he is actually a registered sex offender, which is one of the worst things a man could possibly be. Okay, one of the worst things that you could possibly be. And hey, listen, I wasn't a part of the case. I don't know the case that well. I can't say what didn't happen, but that's a terrible thing to have associated with you. And definitely for a celebrity like Nicki Minaj, and actually, I think it did hurt her brand. But it says something very interesting about the choices that she makes and whether or not she knows what she's doing. All right. I don't think that Nicki Minaj understood how much Safari was helping until he wasn't there no more. Because I remember like her career had a lull for a couple of years and whatnot. It was a minute before like she was relevant again. That's actually how Cardi B became very relevant, was in Nicki's like absence. Nicki wasn't really as hot no more. All right. And so anywho, I'll bring these things up because it's interesting how this all panned out. And hopefully I don't know, hopefully they work it out and whatnot. But I thought about Drake. I said, God damn it. Drake is living his best life. And I'm sure that, I don't know how serious he might have been about Shorty, but I'm sure at one point he saw her at a very high light. And Nicki Minaj is still very attractive and everything, but she's older now. There was a time when Nicki got chunky. That shit was crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. But Nicki is a very attractive woman. It still is. Right? But she'll never have opportunity with those kind of men again. And I'm just thinking about like how things pan out when you give things time. And knowing when it's not your time, and also knowing when, for all those brothers, for Safari, for Drake, for Meek Mill, everything worked out for the best. And again, I think like Nicki still has relevance. She still has a fan base that really rock with her and whatnot. So it worked out for everyone. But I think about for Safari, right? In his own right, I think he's a success story because he still was able to take care of himself and live well without being involved with Nicki anymore. And I'm sure that he learned a lot and probably became a better man throughout this time on his own. So shout out to him. But men have to understand, whatever you give, you're just giving it out the kindness of your heart. You're not giving it to get something back from that person. Okay? Of course, people need to do right by you and keep their word, but you have to understand, people going to do what they're going to do. So anywho, shout out to Drake. Drake wins again, man. You know what I mean? That nigga Kenneth was stealing from my purse. That's crazy. Like, yo, so you just like go to jail for mad long, and you just spend time in jail. When you come home, you get to just bang Nicki Minaj. Yo, listen, if Life Ain't Fair was a person, I'm just saying, goodness gracious. You know what I mean? And another thing that speaks to is like these prices. Another case study of you don't need no high value man. We're gonna close it out with that. That keep proving my point. Nicki Minaj being with a sex offender. Nicki is 40 and still is dumping on most of y'all. I can say Nicki can give the young girls a little work. I ain't gonna hold you. That's a beautiful woman. You understand? So, anywho, yeah. So, if she could be happy, it wasn't even like he wasn't even home yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, she had her own Love During Lockup saga. She had her own episodes of Love During Lockup. She did her own Love During Lockup. Bars. Yeah, nigga, you see what I did there. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. Yep. Anywho, shout out to everybody involved, man. Shout out to all those men for leveling up and living their best life, man. And yeah, man. So there we go. I think that's gonna be that. You don't need no high value, man. You need to go ahead and just get back to basics, man. Start finger painting. Try finger painting. All right, we out, man. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. You got this far in the video, man. Peace and have a good night, man. Be safe.